Hello Camaro Nation. Today we're going to take apart the rear end. This is what I call a fishing expedition. There's a noise in the driveline and I don't know what it is, but I have a feeling it's in the rear end. It appears to be drive shaft speed and I don't see anything physically wrong with the drive shaft. The chance of having a bad bushing in the back of the transmission tail shaft is pretty slim. I've never heard of that in a monthly 4-speed, but who knows, somebody has to be first. So we'll pull the rear end apart, go on my fishing expedition, see if I can find something amiss, and go from there. So follow along while we take it apart and see what we can find. One thing I'm going to attempt, which is a little unorthodox, is drain the gear oil through a rag or a towel into a funnel into my jug, because I want to see if there's any metal in it, chunks, whatever. I have a feeling it's got a bad bearing. And I want to see if there's any metal flakes in it. I mean, sure, by taking it apart, I should know if a bearing is no good, but I just want to see what's going on. So that's why I'm going to drain this into the funnel, into the jug, through a rag. Well, I got the cover off and drained the fluid. I don't see any metal in it, so that's good. I mean, I'm hoping to find something wrong. Something that's making a noise. I'm going to pull the axles out, see the axle bearings are junk, but I noticed this already. I don't like this. If you grab the axle and rock it, the pin moves a lot. You can see that in the video, but the pin is moving. The posi springs are jumping. I'll try to get a better angle on it. See that? I don't think that's quite normal. I would think the housing is worn where the pin goes in. Maybe on this end. Yeah, it's one little bit. I don't know. I don't like that at all. But I don't think that's normal. It's been a while since I've been in a 12 bolt. But I would think any rear end is, the same kind of rules. I mean, you don't want slop all over the place. So let me get this thing apart and see what's next. I brought in my tripod so I can do some hands-free work. So I'm going to check the backlash and the rear end gears before I get too far ahead of myself. So let's set this guy up just to see what it has in it now. So if I've taken it apart, I have a reference for later. And I can also tell if this thing's set up right or wrong. It should have 8 to 10 thousandths, I think, backlash. I mean, these look to be Richmond gears. I have to see what Richmond wants, but I mean, that's okay. So that's like, what, 8 over there, and that's like 93 over there. If I get one of these to 0, that would be nice. Yeah, it's got about 14 thousandths in it, 12 thousandths in it. That's an awful lot. Yeah, that's like 13 thou, right? 13, 14 looks like from this angle. Jesus, that's a lot of fucking backlash. All right, so we checked that out, so now I have a reference for later. So I know it came in here with like 14 thousandths. That seems awfully loose, but maybe that's what Richmond wants. I kind of doubt it, but we'll find out. I hope this thing shut off. I think I might have found the problem, or at least a contributing factor to the problem. Pulling the axle shafts out. Holy shit, look at that. Yikes. If you're not familiar with 12 bolt Chevys, this is where the bearing rides. Good God, look at that. Yikes. And this is the worst side. This side's bad, but it's got a couple of chewed up sections on it, but shit. Yeah, these axles are junk. Yikes. I have a pair of axles for this thing, believe it or not, but I don't think they're for this rear end. I gotta measure them. From what I've read, the 67 and 69 Camaro has like a 29 and, 5/16 or 5/8 axle shaft length. And then 70 and up Camaro have like a 30 and a 16th or something like that. It's like a half-inch difference. 65 to 67 Chevelle has the short axle. 68 to 72 Chevelle has the long axle. The axles I have appear to be for the newer Chevelle, the newer Camaro. They're like 30 and change, so like half-inch too long. I mean, they'll fit, they'll work, but what'll happen is they'll be half-inch too long this way, so the brake drums will sit, half-inch out, which that's not cool. So let me get these out. Let me pop the bearings out, take a look at those, and I'll see what axle I have. And luckily Summit has axles for this thing in stock. I checked them already. And I'm sure you can have a Moser or whoever, but let me keep going, see what else I see. Maybe this isn't the end of the story. Great. Well, there's the metal I was looking for. Holy shit, look at that. Yikes. This thing's been chewing the piss out of the axles. Wow. I don't get it. What the hell, man? What, they run this thing dry or something? Yikes, look at that. All right, getting back to it today. My new axles are right there in the box. My beautiful Summit axles, which hopefully will do the trick. I tried to get the differential out, but with the muffler in the way, it's almost impossible. So what I did was I slid the carrier bearing races out, and they're fine. The carrier bearings are fine. The pinion bearing spins fine. So I'm gonna say that all that is fine. What I'm gonna try to do today is close up that ring and pinion backlash a little bit. It was about 12 thousandths, give or take. I'd like it to be 10 or less. So when you're messing with, you know, a couple of thousandths, that's really finite shit, but I'm gonna do my best. So when you, I don't know if you've done rear end work before, but basically you got the carrier bearing races, and they have shims on each end. They're usually like one single solid cast iron shim. But what they do nowadays is they'll put solid ones on one side, and then they'll put this, what they call a stackable, on the other side. So it's like a top hat. If you take the pieces out, you see, it's got a top hat, and they all key into it, and then they put like one solid one on the end to close it up nice and tight. So the skinny ones won't get distorted when you bang them in. They won't get worn out from, you know, any movement or whatever. So I maintained the original thickness left to right, but I took about 4 thousandths out of it. So let's hope that that closes up my backlash just enough. It doesn't distort my pattern. It shouldn't. Looking at my pattern, it's pretty good, but it's a little bit low on the coast side. And if you go online, you read a book, it'll tell you that when the coast side is low, that means that the pinion depth is a little bit shallow. It should be out more. Like if you look at my, like you can see it well on the camera. If you look at my ring and pinion pattern, on the drive side, that's the outer side. It's right in the middle, centered up and down, centered in and out. That's nice. But if you look on the coast side, it's a little bit, I don't know if I'm getting this very well. It's a little bit down toward the, what they call the root of the gear. That's the bottom inside. I don't know if it's because this thing spun, or if it's because my marking compound is a few days old, but basically it was down in this, and shit, if I can do this with. In a perfect world, what you want is the pattern to be centered on this side, you know, centered in and out, centered up and down, and centered on this side, in and out, up and down. What I'm getting right now is it's centered on this side really well, but on this side, it was favoring more toward the bottom. It wasn't terrible, but it was, you know, a little off. So I'm hoping by shimming this thing over this way a little bit, that will take care of that, or it'll help it anyway. It won't go the wrong way. I mean, I didn't recall any noise in this rear end, but when you got the axle bearing going the whole time you're driving it, it's really hard to hear. I mean, it wasn't like a bulldozer going by me, but it was loud enough to be, you have to turn the radio up to bury it, okay? So hopefully, when I move this over a little bit, I'll maintain the preload, and it won't hurt the backlash, and I won't hurt the pattern. It'll make the backlash a little tighter and make the pattern a little more uniform. That's the goal. If not, I'll go back to the way it was and call it a day. It worked before, it'll work again. So let me smack this thing together and see what happens. Okay, it's all back together again. The shims didn't go in too bad. I mean, they were stiff, so there's definitely preload on it, but it should be no worse than what it was. It spins beautiful. I torqued the caps up 60 foot-pounds, and I dyed it, and I ran it, and it's okay. I mean, you know, the pattern is about the same as it was, maybe a little better. You know, there's the coast side. I believe the inside is the coast side. It's a little low, but it's not horrible. The drive side's beautiful. I mean, it's, if you look up there, especially, it's hitting right in the center. And again, when I drove the car, it didn't make any noise. So I got a new pin to put in here, and then I'll throw the axles in and get this thing buttoned up. I had to film this because it's kind of comical. Here's my new Summit axle, and I had bought bearings and seals for it, but the Summit axles come with bearings and seals. And I believe in American bearings. I think the tolerances are really good. Japanese bearings are good too. But, I try to get American bearings because they're really good tolerance, that they're not loosey-goosey. So I popped this bearing out of the Timken box. And what's it say on it? Koyo. It's made in Japan. But then it says USA all over it. So the Summit bearings, coincidentally, are also Koyo, but they also say USA on them. So go figure. I don't know. My friend the machinist told me that, just told me yesterday, Koyo bearings are really good quality. They're made in Japan, high tolerance. So, okay, whatever. And then sliding them on here, there's no play. Try to move it. There is play when you go like this, which I guess is, I don't know, probably the way they're made. Maybe it's got a little conical shape to it. Or maybe it's because it's a cage roller and the roller's, I don't know. I really can't explain that one, but I mean, there's nothing this way, nothing I can feel. Maybe the tiniest bit. I mean, the ones that were in the box, it was about the same. Maybe a tiny bit tighter on this way, so whatever. Well, I can use the Koyos or I can use the Koyos, take your pick. So I just thought that was kind of funny, but that great Timken quality. So let me make sure this is the right length shaft. It should be. I mean, here's the other shaft. There's no stud, it's sitting on the studs, but I measured it yesterday, and it's like from the outside of the flange, it's 29.5 inches to here. From the back of the flange to here, it's 29 3/8, which is exactly the same as these guys. So these are the correct axles. So I will just put the bearings in, knock these suckers in, and keep on trucking. So let's put the other axle shaft in. In case you never saw this trick before, you have to push them in as far as they'll go. And then you're going to put in the C-clip. There we go. Put in the C-clip, and then you have to pull the axle back out, and then put in the pinion shaft. So lock the C-clips in. They can't fall out, so see how I keep my fat head out of the camera. Basically, it just slides into that groove right there, and the axle just pops out, and that's it. Then the shaft goes in, and there's a bolt for it, and that locks it in place. One thing you should watch out for, if you notice, there's your spider gear, your pinion gear. These are your side gears that spline to the axle shafts. These two just follow along and let the differential rotate. There's your pinion gears. There's a washer under each one. It's a cup-shaped washer. And one of them, I think it's the one on the bolt side, but I can't remember now, fell out on me a few times. Actually, it's not this one. It's the other one. This one would be too easy to get to. It's the other one. There's your cup washer right here. And to put it in, you can't just stick it in from here, or at least I couldn't. I had to go the other way, which is the harder side. The hole's smaller. Total pain in the ass. So when you rotate the differential with the axle shafts out and the pinion shaft out, be careful, because one or both of these will fall out. I replaced it because this one's kind of beat. I mean, you can see it, but it's kind of beat up. I had another posi in pieces on my shelf at home. I stole one out of it. It was in nicer shape. But I have a brand new pinion shaft somewhere. So what you got to do is rotate the differential until the bolt is where you want it. And again, watch that these don't move. You can't get the shaft in right now because the hole is down. So what you got to do is spin it until you can get to the hole. And there's your new pinion shaft. What was that? No, the washer fell. There it is. You slide this guy in. You gotta line it up a smidge. There we go. Let's get a, oh, there we go. Let's say we'll have to get a rubber hammer or something. I think the axle shaft is still out a little bit. Let me pull it out some more. Try that again. What is in my way? Something is in the way. This axle shaft is sticking out a tiny bit. Sometimes you give them a little coaxing with a rubber hammer or a plastic hammer. Oops. Make sure we're still seeing what we want to see. Yep. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Make sure you line that bolt up. This is your pinion bolt, pinion shaft bolt. And there we go. Sorry about that. I keep hitting the stupid thing. Yeah, I think you can see fine. There we go. I can even see through it. Look at that, huh? Wow, isn't that cool? The sight window. All right, then you tighten this up. I don't know what the torque spec is. Probably not much. It's probably field torque. Just a 1/2 inch head bolt. I was gonna buy a new one because these do break once in a while, but I didn't see it jumping out at me in the Summit catalog, and I Googled it, and I didn't see a part number or a manufacturer jumping out at me either, but I'm assuming you can buy this bolt. I mean, you can buy it for 8.5s. A 12 bolt Chevy it's like a 9-inch Ford or a Dana 60. I mean, everybody used to have them. I don't know about nowadays, but they're very popular is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, I'm not gonna bore you with maybe put a bolt in. So let me button this up and we'll get to the rest. And there we go, all done. Spins beautiful. Nice and smooth. Hopefully on the road it's nice and quiet now. Oh boy, I don't know. Sometimes these old cars, you know, they stress you out. This one's definitely testing me lately, but that's okay. It's making me work on it. You know, I read online if you spin this thing from the axle, you know, you have to put a load on the ring and pinion in order to show the pattern correctly. And I read that if you spin it by the axle shafts, that helps to you know, make it load better. So for the hell of it, let's run it one more time to see the pattern. And I'll spin it by the axle shaft and see if we notice any difference. Yeah, I'd love the pattern to be textbook perfect, but as a friend of mine used to say, it is what it is. You know, it's a rear end that was built many years ago. It's got Richmond gears or aftermarket gears. Aftermarket gears sometimes don't run as quietly as factory gears. They're probably held to a different standard. I have no idea if these gears were used when they were put in or new. I don't know. I'll have to ask my buddy who had a guy who built the car many, many years ago because he had someone build his rear end for him. I don't know. I shouldn't have had many miles on it, but yeah, I don't know. All right, so now looking at the pattern again, it's definitely changed from doing it by hand. I mean, yeah, it's on the coast side, it's a little higher and a little deeper, so that's good. On the drive side, I'm gonna say it's perfect. I mean, it's real good, but so turning it from the axle shaft definitely changes the load on it and changes the pattern. So that is what I read. Nice to see the answer that was right for a change. Luckily, before I threw the cover on, I watched that segment I just filmed, and I didn't realize you couldn't see the ring and pinion pattern, but there it is. You know, as far as I know, the outer curved side is the drive side. That's doing most of the work, and that looks really good to me. And the other side, the inside, is the coast side. And that, again, to me, looks, I don't know, looks really good. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's definitely acceptable. So, I mean, especially like down here. So, again, it can't be any worse than it was. Hopefully it's better. So that's that. So, all right, let's throw the cover on this thing, button it up, the drums back on it. I do want to pull the fuel tank down. It might be a tomorrow morning job. See if there's any crap in it. I want to change the sending unit because my gauge doesn't read worth the shit. So I will button this up to the cover on it. And that'll be that. And then we'll move on to the next thing. I just noticed my right front brake caliper is leaking on the floor. I don't know if that's just a line leak. I don't see the caliper leaking. See that over there? Just ruined my day. Yikes. I think you can see it. I can't see it in my viewfinder, but it's right over there. Anyway, let me get to that too and hope that it's nothing big. Hopefully it's just a line seep or something. So today's the 4th of July. I'm going to my friend's house for cookout shortly. I was just trying to get this finished up best I could. So hope you guys enjoy your holiday. And I'll be back in here tomorrow. Hopefully getting the gas tank down. Hopefully it doesn't become a friggin' horror show. But we'll see. You get what you get. So thanks for watching. I hope your projects are going great. And I will talk to you later. All right, so I'm driving the Camaro home, and the rear end is quiet now. You don't hear it going anymore. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but the noise is gone, so that's fixed. Yay! It still breaks up or misses or whatever you want to call it above 3,100 RPM, so that's the next thing I gotta fix. And there's some kind of rattle on the left dash area. It's driving me nuts, but that's the worst thing's wrong with the car. That's okay. I gotta buy a fuel gauge because it's still reading wrong. And it's probably that resistor at the back of the gauge is effed up. But you know what? I'll just buy a freaking gauge for 60 bucks. Fuck it. Put a gauge in. I'm done. Don't worry about resistors anymore. And then everything is new and works perfect. And all live happily ever after. So let's call this case closed.